Hi, this is Carlos Cousins, and the following ACT Humanities question is asking about the passage as a whole, and asking you to evaluate certain claims about the passage as a whole. And after reading it, you should have an idea of what's going on here. Now, let's go ahead and just look at them together, assuming that you've read the passage. Always notice and appreciate what is in front of their eyes, is what people should do according to answer choice A. Well, that makes a bit of sense. If we look at specifically the first paragraph here, looks like a lot of people are confined to books. All they do is read. The first topic sentence is, I didn't read books the first summer. I held beans. I did something himself. And the last couple sentences of the first paragraph here ask a couple challenging questions to the readers of this essay. What is a course of history or philosophy? So a class, history class, philosophy class, poetry class, no matter how well selected, or the best society, or having good friends, or the most admirable routine of life, or doing something, admirable, compared to the discipline of looking always at what is to be seen. So you should be looking at what you already have around that you should be looking at. That was just a little bit circular, but pay attention to what surrounds you here. Will you be a reader, a student merely, or a seer? Read your fate, see what is before you, and walk on into futurity. So definitely always notice and appreciate what is in front of their eyes. It makes sense. You should be looking around you, seeing what there is to see out there. So that is definitely the right answer. You can tell right away after looking at this part of the passage. Let's consider the others. Not waste their time in idleness. Well, this is kind of tough. There's nothing that he says regarding idleness. Potentially he disagrees with it, since in the last paragraph he says, oh, what I did seemed to my townsmen to be idle, which implies then that it wasn't idle, so we don't know if he agrees with it with idleness or not as a general principle. But what people tend to define as idleness sort of encompasses what he does, obviously, and he doesn't think it's a waste of time to do what he does. So this is very difficult, definitely not the correct answer choice. Protect nature by empathizing with birds and plants. Okay, well, we're not talking about protecting nature here. We're talking about observing the present, sort of losing yourself in your natural environment necessarily, which is not about preservation of nature here, and it's not about empathy with birds and plants. It's about something entirely different. So we can just get rid of that. We want to see your fate, see what is before you. It's about a personal introspection thing, not some sort of communion with animals and plants. Imitate his isolated way of life. Oh, well, this looks good. It seems that we should imitate his life a little bit. He wants us to do things differently like he does them. Is that way of life necessarily isolated? Potentially. Potentially not. This isn't about imitating a way of life that is going to bring you away from other people. It necessarily could be, but this looks a lot better. It's more about looking at life differently in general. So we can get rid of that, and that's why A is the best answer choice. I hope that helped with this problem, and happy prep.